This is the Warr Pavilion. It was built in 1935. The project was initiated by Earl de la Warr, who was the 9th Earl, and his family were originally the Lords of the Manor. However, de la Warr was a socialist. He was the chair of the Labour Party before the war from about 1930 until 1939. He was very altruistic in his outlook, and he very much wanted to create a place of entertainment which improved the lives of the local people. Delaware decided to initiate an architectural competition, and he consulted an architect called Tate to help him draw up the brief, and together they created a brief for what is effectively a very modernist building. Delaware was very much of a mind to improve people's well-being, and his original vision is pretty much as it stands at the moment. Within the building there is the main auditorium, which is big enough for 1,500 people, and the original brief was to have a very simple auditorium with a very simple stage and a flat floor that could be used for concerts, could be used for drama performances, could also be used for dancing. Both side walls of the auditorium, the north wall and the south wall, open up almost completely. The structure above is designed to span across, which means that people could flow out onto the terrace here. The architectural competition was won by Mendelssohn and Chimaev. Erich Mendelssohn was a German architect that had fled the Nazis in 1933 and arrived in London. At the time, he was one of the world's most famous architects. He teamed up with Serge Chimaev, who had been living and working in London since about 1910. They involved an engineer called Felix Samueli, who was originally from Austria, who'd worked in Germany with Mendelssohn. Together they created this building as it stands at the moment. The fundamental problem that Samueli was faced with was to create a very slender structure. The structure, the architectural concept is to be like a machine, like an ocean liner on the lawn, on the terrace here above the sea. And that can only be achieved with very slender structure, with long cantilevers, large spans internally, very clean lines, no downstand beams, flat ceilings all the way through. Samueli achieved that by having a fully welded structure, and this building is one of the very first welded structures in the UK. He developed the idea of welded steel frames and rigid joints while he was working in Germany, and transferred that technology and understanding to this project. At the time, a welded steel frame wasn't permitted under the current building regulations. And what Samueli did, one of the things he did, was to invite all of the district surveyors from London, who were fundamentally the people that determined the building regulation, down for the day on the new electrified railway. In 1929, the Southern Railway, who obviously ran the railway system in this area, initiated a programme to electrify all of the existing network. Obviously up until that time everything was driven by steam trains. He showed them around the works, explained how the technology was implemented, showed them how they were doing the welding on site, showed them how they were testing it, convinced them that welded steel frames were a technique that should be allowed under the building regulations. And relatively soon after, the regulations were changed and welded structures became much more common, and is now obviously the way we put buildings together fundamentally. This is one of the first buildings where the engineer and the architect are working together very closely to try and achieve the same clean lines, or the very clean lines and the classic modernist aesthetic that we see around us today. And I think for a young person thinking about what profession they might want to go into, I think it's very important to understand that building design is a profession where you have to work very closely with other members of the design team. It's not just about doing calculations, it's not just about doing drawings, it's not just about using computers, it's not just about technology, it's about being able to communicate with people and being able to understand what each other's needs and requirements are and how that can bring success, and that's the most rewarding thing. And I think as a profession I'd recommend it to anybody, and I do recommend it to people all the time.